Hello and welcome to NewsClick. This program is Real News. We have with us Rajat Nag, former MDG of Asian Development Bank, and we're going to discuss the forthcoming G20 summit. You know, this G20 summit takes place now as a matter of course. There are a lot of things discussed, but nothing seems to happen. Do you think this summit is going to be different? Is it going to discuss, for instance, the backdrop of the crisis, the fact tax havens have played a huge role? Do you think all this is going to play a role, or is it going to be one of the same?
I'm afraid it will be more one of the same. But the G20 summits and the first three, I think, were really useful. The one in Washington in 2008 and the depth of the financial crisis, and then the following two in 2009. Those summits dealt with what a G20 needed to do: bring the global leadership, be decisive, take decisions, act. After that, it has tended to become very diluted by taking on a huge agenda. 2014 in Brisbane, they discussed economics, they discussed climate change, they discussed gender, they discussed Ebola crisis, they discussed everything, and nothing comes out of it.
But is it because the G8 or even the G7 or the G5 really do not want anybody else at the table, and therefore this is more for show? While at the time of crisis, they really needed India and China to bail them out.
True, but I think even G8, quite frankly, has become irrelevant. If you don't have G20, you don't have the big players, i.e. India and China. So they need that larger group. But I think what has happened is they now get into too many things, like the theme for the G20 summit next week at Guangzhou are 4 I's: innovation, invigoration, interconnectedness, and inclusiveness. Now, under those 4 I's, you can discuss anything and everything, and that's what they will do. So I'm afraid it does tend to become a bit of a talk shop. But I think there is some value to having these get-togethers of leaders where they can discuss issues of substance, but only when it is focused. And I'm afraid now it is not focused at all. And therefore, I don't expect much to happen coming out of it.
Honestly speaking, the focus will be there if the Americans and the Europeans want something out of it. If the rest of the world wants something out of the Europeans and the Americans, particularly the Americans, then the focus has to be brought by them. And I'll give you 2 instances which I think we need to get some focus. One is the issue of tax havens, which is really transfer of wealth from the poorer nations to the richer nations via tax havens. Tax havens do not work as if they are the culprits. In fact, most of the tax havens are connected to major European or American financial institutions, and the city of London really runs the bulk of the tax havens in the world today. If something has to be done on tax havens, the world needs to move. It is really destroying the real economy in some sense, and particularly the poor countries. But there is no attempt to put this on the agenda in any serious sense.
But I won't put it only on Europe or the US. Even there is no unity, say, between China and India or South Africa or others. So I think the group of 20 themselves can't often agree what is it they want. And therefore, yes, I mean, obviously some countries have more sway than others. But more than that, I think a G20 forum works best when there is a genuine crisis of global proportions, such as happened in 2008 global financial crisis. So the forum has become a bit of a talk shop where everybody puts in their ideas, nobody prunes out, and each summit is an attempt by the chair, in this particular case China, to put its mark. Well, last year it was Turkey, before that was Australia. So nobody says, look, can we look at what we decided last time or the year before? And they just want to add something of their own. In Turkey, for example, last year, again, 3 I's. They had inclusiveness, they had investment, and they had integration or interconnectedness, something of that sort. So my feeling is that the G20 as a forum needs to decide what is it for. If it's just for meeting and talking by itself, I have no problem. It may be a bit of a waste of time. But I think it's very important to decide what are the 3 top things that the world needs to look at and do it. For example, I think at the moment, the biggest concern really has to be that the world economy as a whole is really in a very fragile, anemic state. the growth rate this year is going to be roughly about 3.1%. For the fifth year in a row, the growth rate will be less than the average during the period 1990 to 2007. In 2017, probably the same, about 3.1, 3.2. So I think the G20 can be a very, very important forum for the leaders to say, what are we going to do about global economic growth? What are we going to do about some of the issues of inequality, some of the issues that you mentioned about tax havens? But they don't. They always go from one issue to another. As I said, in 2014 in Brisbane, they discussed Ebola, which was important. But it doesn't need the G20 to discuss.
Because you come to Ebola, WHO is the place that's the place you should have been discussing
Exactly.
it. G20 is not the
Exactly.
platform. The whole bunch of platforms which are UN platforms, which is where these things to be discussed, G20 has to focus on where they make the maximum
Exactly.
impact. And you're absolutely right. It is the economy where they play a major role.
Right.
And when we talk about global governance structures where
Right.
G20 has to
Right.
lead, which is really tax being one of the key ones in that. So economy and uniform taxation policies which are not inimical to poorer countries are the major things.
I could not agree more with you. I think the G20 forum is really there to look at global issues and global public goods. Growth is one, obviously. So what are the growth drivers? And governance, and governance, exactly the sort of things you're talking about. Also the institutional arrangements, and how would the IMF be made more representative? How would the emerging markets get more voice, etc.? Those, I think, are issues which 2 days of discussions at that level would be very useful. At the moment, it gets too fragmented, and each country wants to get its own particular clause or sub-clause in the communique, and then sort of that becomes an end in itself.
Do you think that, therefore, countries like India and China are missing the bus? They should be really driving this agenda, which they're not.
Well, you see, that's the thing. Now, this is China's turn. China is going to be the chair. Hong Zhao, they have the 4 I's that I just mentioned that President Xi is very keen on. But if you look at it, what is it? It's just, again, everything is important. Yes, innovation. Yes, invigoration. Yes, interconnectedness. Yes, to inclusiveness. But what will come out of it? But if they focus just on, I would think, economic growth and inequality, this global rise in inequality in which the richer countries are getting richer, the rich in the world, and if you take an average of most of the industrialized countries, the top 10% have seen significant increases in income.
In fact, top 1%
and then if you take top 1%. But the point is that it is the high income earners who have garnered most of the gains, and the middle income or the poor have not. And this is true almost universally. And even in the emerging economies, inequality has worsened. Those require some fairly major public policy decisions at the global level.
This is where India and China both are also equally at fault, and therefore they have no incentive to bring it up either.
And then each becomes, I think, an occasion to showcase in a particular achievements or a particular country rather than some of this macro global public goods. And unfortunately, I think other than in 2008 and 2009, each G20 summit has frittered away an opportunity. And quite frankly, therefore, when you asked me, I couldn't remember, this is the 11th summit that's happening. Other than the first 3, I can't remember anything specific from the other summits which you can say was achieved.
Also interesting that inequality doesn't figure as one of the I's in this 4 I's. Rajat, we'll come back to you after the G20 summit to have a review of what the summit really did or did not. We'll treat this as a curtain raiser. This is all the time we have today for NewsClick. Keep watching our programs.